Is she jumping back on? Did I go into the right one? This doesn't look like the right. Is it? Oh, is she on? There she is, Miss America.
Hey there. Sorry, just trying to get my computer to stop sounding like a jet engine.
Oh, that's not a problem.
Yeah, it's like really loud. I'm like, do I need to restart? What's going on with it?
On
It's
a
not good.
page we manage. Okay. We see we have Elizabeth on here already. Let me
Hey,
go.
Elizabeth.
This always has problems. It's like one down from where it needs to be. Marketing Monday Mixer. There we go. And I think we're live, folks.
It's not showing up here.
Okay. It's preparing. It's thinking about it. Is it showing up yet? Okay, here we go.
Everybody, are we on? Are we on? Who knows? Who knows?
Okay, I think we are. We don't want the live producer. Okay, go live. We should be now.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Marketing Monday Mixer. Although I was calling it like Monday morning marketing or something this afternoon. I'm like losing things today. I cannot get it together.
So what day is it? Is it Monday or is it?
I'm positive it's Monday. Like that is the one thing that I am positive about. Whether or not it's anything else, I'm not sure.
Cool. Well, welcome everybody. It looks like we have a few people on. Oh, we have a lot of, wow.
We got lots of people on. All right.
Yes. So virtual reality, that's what we're going to talk about today. Did anybody notice a few things happened back in March and April? And all of a sudden, everybody is virtual. And
oh, imagine that. Whoa,
I don't know.
everybody's virtual.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually suffering from virtual exhaustion because between all of the things that I had going on and business picking up for most online entrepreneurs, I think we're all a little virtual exhausted, but it is our new reality.
Yeah, but you know what? For some of us, it was the reality before, which is really great because it made it easy to make that transition. I think there are realities around us that have changed that have impacted all of that, though, in us being successful there. So I think that's probably the thing I want to start with, Juliet, is that the success tips that I had before in being successful doing virtual interviews, doing virtual marketing, doing virtual whatever are still the same success tips today. They haven't changed. And so I think that's really critical to understand. And then I think the second part of it we want to talk about is like what has changed, like has time of day changed? Like we have to watch for some different things that are altered because our audiences, their time and attention has altered. Length of time of how long we're going virtual, things like that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But there's some really great things that are happening out there. I think for a lot of people that are just going virtual for the first time, they didn't understand the learning curve and how to actually drive that traffic, which I don't know about you, but I think that's the biggest challenge when you're putting all this together is driving that traffic in. But
it's the biggest challenge with everything. Like, I mean, for you not to think that that's going to be the biggest challenging online or offline, it doesn't matter. That is the biggest challenge, whether you're selling a book, marketing a podcast, pitching a seminar or a webinar, like it's always the same thing. It is hard to get people to show up.
Right. So I was talking this morning, I mentor for another program besides my own. And we were talking this morning about magical childlike thinking that happens when you become an online entrepreneur. And it's that whole Kevin Costner thing, if I build it, it will come. Well, Kevin Costner has a whole production team behind him. He has movie studios behind him. If he builds it, yeah, they'll come. But for us normal mere mortals, not true.
Well, this is so true. Like, the studies show that's like people try to mimic programs. They try to mimic marketing techniques. They try to mimic going viral or whatever that might be. And I mean the good viral, like, like people are sharing, not the bad viral. And so we need a new term for that actually. So, but the idea that it's going to work for you is highly unlikely because you don't have the groundwork, the infrastructure, what came into place. So those coaches out there and those people out there on webinars telling you and say, I put $100,000 and 10,000 hours into this to develop this program for you. That to me is actually the red flag. That means there's a whole bunch of foundational stuff that I don't know. So it's great that they're going to teach me the how to and skipping the stuff that are mistakes, but there's a whole bunch of foundational stuff that they probably put into place along the way. And I think that's why everybody's seeing that steep learning curve to going virtual. Like you didn't realize, wow, there's a whole bunch of settings in Zoom that I've never used before, right? They were perfectly fine when I was just making the occasional coaching call. But now that I have to go live on Facebook, I mean, look, we do it all the time and it glitches out every time you turn around, right? So there are issues that everyone comes up with, no matter how professional or how accustomed to it you are. But to think that there isn't some of these foundational understanding and taking the time for them, that's a mistake.
Yeah. And you know how much resistance I get when I say, you know what, the Zoom will be so much better when you upgrade to webinar. And people are like, I don't want to upgrade. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with getting Sammy the sleazeball to not make an appearance at your webcam.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and here's some things. It's like, also we try to be penny wise and pound foolish, right? And so this is, when we get nervous about money, when we get into tight times, this is the mistakes that we make. And sometimes what we do is create so much more stress, work, and in system interaction problems that we are hurting ourselves and we're stressing ourselves out more. And that's something we don't need right now. So if you can do all in one with one program, you create less interaction problems. So these are important and things to consider as you're going forward. And now if you're not using them and they're not working, discontinue them, but give them a try, because you may be finding out for yourself that, wow, that was so much easier than for me to just click the go live on Facebook feature in Zoom instead of pop up Facebook, start up oh, I can't figure out how to get a guest in. I can't do what I want to do. Now I have to learn some complicated system of how to invite people in, and it's not working today. And, and now you're out of doing what you need to do, and you're all in the tech. Mm-hmm. So, these are some things that I think people really do need to consider, that I need to leave some time for myself and really make sure that I'm learning this. And I see this all the time with the teachers. So the teachers have been working their butts off, trying to figure out how to make this tech work for the kids, but they're learning it themselves. And they haven't given them enough time, because it was like, hey, you got to go virtual tomorrow because we got to keep these kids in school. And they didn't give them any training time. It's so much of it was missing. And even still, they were still getting only surface and not getting to the, how do I use this technology to enhance the training techniques I learned in school or I do every day in my classroom? There's none of that happening for them. Mm-hmm. Right? So application of it, learning how to do something, watching a tutorial on YouTube does not necessarily help you learn how to apply it, how you can use it to be successful and interactive, and how you can create the environment you're looking for, or how you can make sure that there's clarity in communications, right? And that's what ultimate goal, relationship building, communications, whatever it is that you're trying to do through your marketing. And it's the same thing for our teachers, right? They need to create interaction with students. They need to create that connection that's going on so they don't feel isolated. And they need to create, obviously, a learning environment, right? Not a confusing environment, a learning one. And so, we're not seeing that go on because they haven't been given the time in it. I suspect that when we come back in the fall, if we don't come back, and many states won't, we come back, the virtual learning environment will be completely different, because they will have given them a breather over the summer to figure this out. But we aren't giving ourselves breathers here. So if you weren't doing this already, you're playing catch up right now. And to over allocate yourself and overestimate how long it's going to take you is a huge mistake for yourself. The last thing you want to do is go into it, make all these rookie errors, get frustrated, and give up. Mm-hmm. Right? How often does that happen, Juliet? Like all the time, huh? We did a whole episode of Marketing Money Mixer on the do-it-oncers, right?
Yes, we did. But it can be really frustrating. In the course that I mentor in, one of the women shared, she's a virtual assistant, a very high-end virtual assistant, that she just about quit last week because she has all these new clients who are coming to the table with expectations that she's going to put stuff together that will change their life in a week. And every single thing that she tells them not to do, they do. And then they come back to her and they say, well, I did this and it didn't work. So if you're working with a mentor on this, listen to what they're telling you, because chances are they've had years of experience with this kind of learning modality, and they know how to make it work. They know what works. They know what doesn't. They know what's engaging. And it just has to be, I think for a lot of us who've been doing online workshops, this is easy peasy, but there's a way to do online workshops that keeps that audience really engaged, and they're not just sitting there listening, doing their work while they're doing it as well.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Right.
But here's the thing. Look, there are some success tips to being online, and and how to operate virtually, how to market virtually that work every single time. And so they're just, I'm going to call them mindset and programmatic things that you put in place. So it's how I strategize and design my marketing system, right, to work, or my marketing media, which is in this case, if you want to think of media as online social media, right? So you're looking at all of those things as that. But the thing that we know works and will work today, because it's one thing that is human need desperately, we all desperately want what? We want consistent. We want something to be consistent in our lives because everything is in flux right now. So when Juliet and I come back here every Monday and show up for you, we didn't miss a date. Nothing changed. We kept it going. My background looks exactly the same. Juliet's moved, but it still looks relatively the same, right? You know, like we're still coming back to you week after week with this sense of they didn't totally lose their office and they're still working where they were working. They must know what they're talking about because there isn't this question of all of a sudden you went from never being online to being online. Mm-hmm. Or you went from doing everything live and only talking about how the power of live, and now all of a sudden you're online and it's the thing, right? So that consistency in messaging, that consistency in how you show up, that says more to people than anything else. That says, I'm going to be here for you today, tomorrow, the next day. And that's how you build leads. That's how you build an audience, right?
And of course, as we say this, we will not be appearing next week.
Right. Well, everyone deserves a vacation, and it is. And you know what? It's more important and critical now for us to start taking those days where we wouldn't have before. And that was ridiculous. We should.
Yeah.
So that is the one thing that, I have learned through all of this is to preserve my weekends more than I used to. I used to work a lot more through the weekends than I do. And yet I have my kids around all the time now. So it's not like, so it's backwards. But we have learned to preserve that we all have to take some time out. And so, yeah. We will not be here on Monday, Memorial Day. Please enjoy it.
Yes, absolutely. But I do agree with that. One of my friends posted today that even though she's an online entrepreneur, she's kind of exhausted from all the online. And I have to say it is too. Those of you who follow me on Facebook probably saw some great hiking pictures this weekend because I literally had to get out and away from my computer. And it's been that way every weekend for a while now because
I got a little sunburned. I don't know if you could see that. I got a little sunburn from driving around around the beach in my convertible down the beach. Yeah. So, so we didn't stop at the beach. I was being very respectful. But we drove by the beach for a very long drive. So yeah, I have to learn to wear sunscreen now. So
yeah. I had that a couple weeks ago. I went hiking without a hat or sunscreen, and that was kind of dumb. Okay. Right. So some of the tips, consistency. What else?
Consistency. And then, this is the thing that when you switch up your message all the time, when you're not consistent in your message too, like when you're like, let's throw everything out I've been saying for years about the power of relationships and live, and let's talk about bunkering down and doing it this way. There's a dissonance, and we can't have that. So you do need to strategize and think through how you're going to talk about that. And the second part of that is not talking about it like it's temporary. So when we get people to think temporary about something, that's bad. Look, this could be permanent, and not because we won't get out of COVID won't be gone. Okay. But it could be permanent because maybe I like it better.
Yep.
Maybe I'm going to choose this as a better mode for me to consume now. Right. So maybe I prefer to shop online, right? And I will never walk back in another store that sells shoes. Who knows what it be? I sincerely doubt that. But
shoes, you have to try them on. I don't know if that was a good example.
I have been buying a lot of online shoes lately. It's amazing how well they do still fit your kids, even if you don't go into the store with them.
It's for your kids. It's not for you, so they don't have to fit.
This is true. Well, no, but I do actually. I buy a lot of shoes online, and so it's just. But I may have chosen this new model because I didn't need those other things that I thought I needed. So we have to really think that there are a lot of rethinking of how things work in every industry. And to think that it's going to switch back and go right back on to the way that it was before is ill-informed. Like, you're not paying attention to what's going on here. And so I always look at that and say, every opportunity exists in something going wrong. Like, that's how I used to design great products. The failure in a product gives you the opportunity for what a great new product is going to be. So this is our way to look at that. We have to flip all of this and say, hey, if everything is up for grabs, do I really want this? And if I don't really want this anymore, this old way of doing it, like going to a big event, then what does a new event look like? And how can I do it better and more exciting? And how can I still make sure I get all those things I used to get, plus the new things I'm discovering I really like? And there's our opportunity for a great new product, great new program, a great new event, a great new system, right? All of those things are opportunities. So now's the time to think about that. So be really sitting back and not just saying, I just got to learn this and I just got to do this to get through. See, this is what I think that some of the school districts and some of the things that were going on there was like, we just have to teach them how to use Zoom and Google Classroom, and we just have to get to June 10th and then it's all over, right? And then they'll be back the fall and we won't ever have to worry about this again. But now they're starting to go, this might be some permanent aspects. Harvard's not coming back. Like, you got to teach law school from a distance, medical school. I don't know how you do that. So, this short-term thinking means that you're not getting the learning lessons now that could inform you with something great later.
So I will share, I talked to a telemedicine company today, so they're figuring it out.
They are. Well, they were already in the right place, most of those telemedicine companies, because they were up and coming. And so, yeah, they are absolutely poised to be in the right place at the right time. And from a perspective, those of us podcasting feel the same way, right? We're in the right place. We've been there for a while. This is the right time. And our audiences are growing and other things are happening. So this can be you too. Just be sitting back and not looking at this as just a short-term solution till this changes.
Exactly. So part 2, for those of you who are already online entrepreneurs, many of us are busier than we were months ago. I can tell you, like March 15th, when this all happened, I thought my business was over and I just had one of my biggest months ever. So what can you do to enhance what you're doing? Automation.
Automation.
If your onboarding has been super personalized in the past, make sure you have an online contract. Make sure you have online signature. Make sure you have online payment. Connect it all together so it's easy peasy for people to be able to go through the process to onboard. What are some of the other things that you can automate?
Well, I think that there's always systems to connect things up, and not everything has to be disparate. That's like the one piece of advice. I was like, if you can get one system that does more for you, do that. So in other words, if you can get one CRM, one customer relationship manager that does everything for you, that can also send out sales messages. If you can, we don't use lead pages or ClickFunnels or any of those things anymore. We just do it off our website. It's way more efficient, way faster for us. And then we also have long-term traction from those pages being added to our site, which we wouldn't get otherwise by keeping them separated. And we don't have the extra fees, and there's no, you know what I mean? So like the less complexity with the tools that you use, the better off you will be too. So that can create a less stress in the whole process of automation.
I'll share with you guys, JotForm is my new best friend. JotForm, I do all my podcast intake on, the appointment setting connected to my calendar. I've put it together for my assessment marketing because I have so many people signing up that we break it down into pieces now. So they come to their appointments with certain pieces done. which I just didn't really have automated in the past. So think about all those little places in your business that you can really break things down and make an automated process out of them. Because I can tell you, I'm saving so much time doing that. I don't have to, if I invite you to my podcast, I don't have to say, send me this or send me that. It's all there. And you don't get my calendar link until you put it all there. So it's really, really streamlined the processes. So think about what in your business can you do that with. I just did it with onboarding too. Onboarding is really easy now for people.
Right. Mike McCallow's book, Clockwork. Great book.
Yes.
Go check that out. You can listen to it on audiobooks because he does it, records it himself, which a good podcaster should do, as we've been talking about lately.
Yep.
And he's funny and interesting. But Clockwork is all about how do you also hire out and start to outsource some of these things and create a system by which you're recording it. So we do that here. We're prepping to expand our sales team. And as we expand our sales team, Tom's strategically recording sales calls for someone to understand, oh, this is what happens when you talk to an existing podcaster. This is what happens when you have a very early call on someone who's just thinking about podcasting. See, and the languaging is different, and now you can learn from that. But you can also do something where you're doing slide shares and screen shares, and you're showing them exactly how to do things, how a system works, how to fill out a form, how to, go on a website and do something. So you can do those things as well. Documenting them as you do them. It takes very little extra time, but now you have training manuals without having to write training manuals. Right. So those are always a really good plan as well. So those are some good things. So there's a few things, Juliet, though, that I think we need to rethink that aren't working that used to work. Oh. So the amount of time spent. So people have been doing hour-long live streams and other things. And, frankly, I don't have time for that anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know anyone who really does have time for a full hour anymore. We're seeing that happening in the podcasting side, and like the time is going down slightly average per episode of amount listened. You're seeing the times go down. So anyone who's over an hour isn't getting as much listen time as they used to. Mm-hmm. So the too short is not doing well either. So we have kind of both ends of the spectrum. Too short is not substantive enough. Mm-hmm. So we have it kind of on both sides. So too much content because I just don't have enough time. And then too little, it's obviously not going to have enough information. So it's going to be more like a commercial. I'm going to skip it.
Right.
So, so that's where, coming into that happy medium, I like the 20 to 30 minute model. That's what we do here on Marketing Monday Mixer. If we go 32 minutes or something, we never really care, or we go 27 minutes, doesn't really matter to us. We're not watching the clock, but we want to make sure that we're hitting that sweet spot of content, right? Enough depth, but not so much that we're dragging it on and making people stick around for, a big sell at the end or whatever either. So
that's very true. Except when you're not here, mine run longer, especially when I noticed Scott and Jim are on.
They run longer.
We go way long. We could chat all day. So, so that's a not to do. Here's another thing I see that's not working out there. The big webinar push pages. A lot of people are using just the assets that are inside of Zoom, the Zoom webinar. Really easy. A banner, a time, an email. We're not doing these huge drip campaigns. I don't see a lot of people doing the big drip campaigns at the end either, the big sales. People are either interested and they're going to talk to you or they're not. Having the big partner campaign where, it's $40,000 and we're going to give it to you for $2,000 and our buddies are going to throw in a whole lot of stuff doesn't seem to be working either. So keep it simple, keep informative, and don't do a big sales push at the end. That's what I think exhausted people back in 2017, 2016 was, the hour-long training with the big sales pitch.
Well, the hour-long training without a lot of substance to it in the big sales pitch
and the
really
sales
hurt.
That's true.
Yeah, that really hurt it. But, the other thing that we're seeing is that waiting till the end, we need an early action item for the quick movers, the ones who are out there looking for something. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to sit through 30 minutes. I want 10 minutes if I go, this sounds worth exploring. Tell me how to find out more. You need to do that in the first 10 minutes. So get through it. I don't want to hear the same long drawn out, let me tell you my story and all of that. If you haven't told me how to take action before you get into all that stuff, tell me the why, tell me how to find out more about what the program itself, and then you can go into your story. But doing it too soon and making me go through all that to build my there are those of us who know exactly how this works. Now, if I'm looking for the information, I'm looking for the information. And so what it does is it turns off the people who are actually looking for the info. They're like, I'm just not going to sit through 30 minutes. Sorry, this isn't the right person. They're probably selling me. It's a scam. Like it's, so we're turning it off because you're following a program instead of you being really true.
And you do that in your workshop as well, right? You get into like the first hour of teaching and people can see like, whoa, this is a lot. And you tell them, if you want this done for you, if it seems like, this is more time consuming than you want to do, we have it done for you. Here it is. Jump off and set an appointment and we'll talk to you about it.
Yeah. And it's not pushy. I'm giving the people who need to move fast a way to move, because there are like those of us who are really big decision makers, right? We got to get moving and we are looking for information out there. And if I think you might be a fit for me for whatever reason, and I get that across in the first 10 minutes, then I just want to jump to the chase. And so often you can't fast forward through videos. Now that's another mistake right now. I'm seeing those that have no way to touch the pause or fast forward on videos. Everything is being interrupted right now. My kids will interrupt me 10 times during the course of the day. If I can't pause that video and then come back to the exact same spot, or something happens and I need to pick it back up, there's no way. So no matter how badly I want your information, I'm done with you. And so that is a huge problem. No replays, huge problem. Those that are operating under that model, go for it. It's your old model, but I guarantee you're missing out, because there are those of us who just are not going to operate on your time schedule anymore. Mm-hmm. And so that's just not going to happen. And if you really want to be helpful and useful and benevolent in your, I'm truly here to serve you, then make sure that you have these other things available to people. And not in the like salesy way, like just like, of course there's going to be a replay, because I know you can't, my kids are online at 11 a.m., and I the bandwidth is bad and I can't watch a webinar at that time or something. You don't know what's going on in everybody's lives right now. And that's the really the last tip that I want to give everybody about is that right now, you need to really be watching your timing. So you can go into social media. You can see when your videos are being watched. You can see when your posts are being read. You can get a sense of timing, like when are posts doing better. You want to do the same things with your videos. Watch the timing of when they're being watched. And that makes a difference, because timing today, what worked yesterday does not work today. So Sunday night used to be my best time. Like I could post up any article, I could post up any video, I could do something on Sunday night and it would do so well. Honestly, Mondays are doing better, which is shocking to me.
Well, it's not shocking because nobody's working on Sunday anymore. LinkedIn, they used to tell you to post on Sunday because that's when everybody jumped in. People aren't jumping in on Sunday anymore. Well, what I have found is it's getting later and later too, though. Like the time of jump in is like 11 to 12 midnight. That's really late. It used to be like 7 p.m. on LinkedIn. Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of people who aren't sleeping and who are stressed and who are going online. And I used to say this to people, it's like, what do people Google at 2 a.m? That's what you want to be showing up for. Well, what are people searching on social media for at 2 a.m. is also just as relevant. So having some of your reshares and your video reposts and some of those things happen 24 hours a day, you need to look at the times, because there's pain going on out there and you may not be in front of them. So that it's time to rethink some of those things. Absolutely. Okay, you guys. Well, thank you. We are not going to be here next week. We're going to be hiking. So, well, you are not you. That's right, not you. You will be driving around Southern California, doing her homecoming wave out of her new convertible. The kids hate the car. Really? Which is why it is my new favorite thing. Yeah, it is my only quiet space. So yeah, everybody out there, I had to get a new car. So it was like we really desperately needed one, and so yeah, I got. By the way, there are great deals out there.
like really great deals, like no payments until August and 0% interest for 5 years, like stuff like that. So it was actually a great time to buy a car, assuming you need one.
Well, I think it is for a lot of things. I know one of my credit card companies the other day wrote me and said, "Hey, if you want to skip a payment, feel free." And I was like, "What?"
Like, okay.
Oh, okay. Like, usually you guys are like hammering me for money. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of good
Well,
stuff going out there.
yeah. So there's lots of interesting things going on in everybody's world. So take it time next Monday. Go take a breather. Don't work. Take some time out. Figure things out. And remember, because that's what Memorial Day is for, right?
There you go.
Honoring and remembering. So that's what we'll be doing next Monday.
Cool.
And we'll be back in June with a whole slate of new episodes. We don't know what they are yet. We're still figuring them out. So if you guys have ideas, share them with us. Tell us what you'd like to hear.
We're supposed to be telling everybody we're planners, but yeah, you guys either go to the group or type in here right now if there's something you'd like us to speak on, and we are qualified to speak on it. We will happily add it in as an episode. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all. I mean, we've been doing this a while now, and I so appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the reshares and the watches, all of you. And I'd love to just interact more with you. So please reach out when you guys have questions. Let us know. There's a Brandcasters group as well as a Marketing Money Mixer group. Juliet has other groups. So there's all kinds of ways for you to find us.
So great. Thanks, Scott. Thank you, guys.
Hey, everybody.
See you in a couple weeks. Bye.